Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and I'll tell you what, I am having a fantastic night. Because you know why? Because that's right. Mine and J-Mac's Atlanta Braves advances to the 2021 World Series against the Houston Astros. So let me go ahead and welcome in the gentlemen that are with us tonight. Number one, we have our special guest tonight, Mr. John Alcorn. How you doing tonight, my man?
I'm speechless. I'll just leave it at that for now.
All right, so you're speechless. All right, and then, of course, we have to welcome him back for at least this week, Mr. J-Mac, the bearded one. How's it going?
Man, I don't think anything could bring this night down. Not even, not anything Isaiah's going to say or anything could bring this night down. Let me tell you.
And J-Mac, I don't know if you were like me, but legitimately, I told him before we hopped on, when I saw that third out, I legitimately almost shed tears. I was like that excited that I almost shed tears.
Yeah. I almost shed tears a couple times in that game. When we had the bases loaded in the set bottom of the sixth.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit there. You're cutting in and out. All right. Well, anyways, while he's fixing his little thing, I got to welcome in Mr. Isaiah Leong. And you know what, Isaiah? Since we're sitting here and we're talking about these Atlanta Braves, I think you owe us a little something.
And please download this when it's done so we can see this apology of the Callan. And I'll post it on the MSA Instagram.
First of all, I just want to say good evening to you, gentlemen. Happy Saturday. I gotta say to you, Ace, and you, J-Mac, I don't know if you're listening. I know you're dealing with a bunch of technical difficulties right now. But if you can hear me loud and clear, I need to apologize to you two and to the entire Atlanta Braves fan base and the entire Atlanta Braves organization for being an absolute dummy and saying before the pivotal Phillies-Braves series, I was so confident. I was saying, the Phillies, we're gonna go into the ATL. We're gonna plant our P flag on your guys' home turf. We're gonna sweep you guys, and we're gonna win the division by sweeping you guys. And I don't know if Ozzy Albies, if Eddie Rosario, if Jorge Soler, if Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Matt Zick, Luke Jackson, all those guys, Jock Peterson, I don't know if they watched that episode because it sure seemed like they did from after I said those words, literally right after I uttered those words. The Braves come out and sweep the Phillies. They plant the A flag on the Truist Field turf, and then they get on this red hot streak, and then now they're going to the World Series. So I guess it's like the first time in since 1999, I believe, since I was years old, that you guys are going to the World Series. I know you two have not been to the have not seen your teams in the World Series for a long time. So congratulations on that. I was wrong. I was wrong about your Atlanta Braves. It wasn't just those words that I said that the Phillies were going to sweep the Braves and plant our P flag in the ATL, all that stuff. But I think it was also when I said when the Braves lost Acuna for the season, I was like, yep, the Braves are done. There's no way the Braves are going to come back. I mean, the Atlanta Braves might as well just start tanking for a high MLB draft pick. I literally said that. I forgot who I told this to. I think my guy Shree from MI6 I told this to, who's a diehard Braves fan. But all the words that I said, it just came back to bite me in the ass. And I want to congratulate you two and say that I was wrong about the Atlanta Braves.
Well, the one thing that I will come out and say this is I will say originally because we talked about it on MI6 on our on our MLB Palooza and everything. We had talked about this. And the thing is I was proud of this team just for making the playoffs. And the simple reason is because when you have to look, we lost Acuna, we lost Ozuna. We went through like 8 different catchers all season. Okay, like we were shuffling through catchers like crazy. At one point, our whole starting outfield was completely gone. We had a whole set of new outfield. Like we had to go out and trade for basically a brand new outfield, and that's what our outfield ended up being. And the trades we made were perfect. I mean, because for a while, Albies was hurt at the same time, and Soroka, we lost him immediately with torn Achilles. And so I'll tell you, like this whole season, just injuries were just plaguing us this whole season. And we managed to fight back and actually make it this far. And I was like, I'm just super happy we're there. And win or lose, you know what? I'm proud of this team because of what we've been through this year. And I'm just saying, man, I'm super happy. J-Mac, I know there's probably something that you want to say.
Yeah, sorry that technical difficulties with my camera. I thought I had it figured out, but I don't. So I am here with you audio-wise as long as I can hang in there. But I'll say definitely on this team. And I got to say that more than this team, more than the players, I was the biggest Alex Anthopoulos anti-AA before the season started. I'm like, why would we bring this joke of a GM in to run this team? And guess what? He went out at the trade deadline and I'm going to tell you the 3 players he got. He got Eddie Rosario, he got a Jorge Soler, and he got Adam Duvall. Do you know what we gave up for those 3 players? We gave up Pablo Sandoval, who hadn't had a hit since April. Okay, we gave up Alex Jackson, who was hitting 188 as an everyday catcher. And we gave up a backup AAA first baseman who's never going to play because Freddie Freeman is there. And some cash considerations. And we got Eddie Rosario. We got Eddie Rosario, Adam Duvall, and Jorge Soler. If that's not the greatest trade by a GM of all time at the trade deadline, you tell me something that's better than that, because that saved our season for sure.
But I'll tell you what, who saved us in the NLCS? I don't care. Eddie Rosario was hitting anything and everything.
Eddie Rosario deserved the MVP. I mean, he was the best player on the team in this NLCS. But I will tell you who saved us in this game.
Matzik.
Tyler Matzik. He came in and he mowed down the 6 straight Dodgers, gave them no shot to come back. Matzik, Will Smith might have got the save in the end, but Matzik is the reason we won in Game 6.
Oh, absolutely. And because to me now, this is my thing though too. I always wondered that if, let's say Matzik didn't have to bat next inning, and that's why they pulled him out, because he has to bat next inning. It makes me wonder if they would have kept him in for one more inning, or if they would have actually went with Will Smith.
No, they might have kept him in. He threw 14 pitches in 2 innings. Or 15, excuse me. 15 pitches in 2 innings. He struck out the side in the 7th inning and then came in and threw 6 pitches in the 8th inning and got 3 more outs. It was insane.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm just so very, very proud of this one. And I'm just glad that we're going. It's going to be Braves and Astros and the World Series. But before we go on to our next topic, J-Mac, I think you probably feel the same way about this one. The only thing I hated about this game, the only questionable decision that Snitker made in this one was when he brought in Luke Jackson. I knew he was shaky, and the first time he played him, like, why would you bring him in? He's shaky.
I know, but I think you have to give a guy a chance. I mean, he pitched good all season long. He pitched. He was our best most consistent guy other than Matzik out of the bullpen. So you had to give him a shot to show that he could pitch like he did all year. I think it just comes down to arm fatigue at this point. And so he obviously didn't show it in this series, but I think he'll be ready for the World Series. I think you put him in to try to get him back into the groove of things.
So as we're sitting here, we're talking about this, we're talking about who you would have as the player of the game. Well, I'm watching the poll that they're taking. It's like live right there on the show. And they gave 74% went to Tyler Matzik.
Oh, man.
74%. Like, it wasn't even close.
I mean, here's a guy. So not to quote Chris Collinsworth here, but here's a guy that 2 years ago, 2019, Tyler Matzik is a journeyman electrician out of professional baseball. Okay, 2020, the Braves take a chance. They put him in spring training. He starts throwing darts. And then you see what that's grown into in 2 years. So 2 years ago, this guy's an electrician, not even playing baseball. That's insane.
Absolutely. So welcome in Christy Wilson, who's saying congrats to the Braves. She thinks the Braves will win their first one since 1995. Hopefully we'll get there. And then Nate is saying he had the Braves in 7. I was hoping it wasn't going to go to 7. I seriously wasn't, because I thought if it was going to go to Game 7, I was like, we're done. I seriously said we were done if it was going to 7 games. There was no way that we were going to win Game 7.
It would have been like the battle of the wounded at that point, because you would have had the Dodgers with all their pitchers with arm fatigue and all that stuff and their injuries, and then you would have the Braves, who would probably had used up their entire bullpen just to try to win Game 6. So it would be like, whoever won that Game 7 and gone to the World Series, it would have been like, you have a wounded team versus the Astros. So glad the Braves managed to close it out.
Absolutely. So before we go on, I want to get this first. Since the series starts next week, I have to hear from Isaiah first. Isaiah, who are you taking in the World Series?
Who am I taking in the World Series?
Yeah.
The Braves, of course, because I'm not going to root for the Houston Astros. Of course not. The Houston Astros, to me, is like the Chiefs to John. It's like the Seahawks to my football team in the NFL. There's no way I would root for the team that plays in Korea over the Houston Astros. There's no way, no how I would ever root for the Houston Astros. Absolutely not.
All right, John, who are you taking in this one?
The only reason why I would pick Atlanta is, you could say either because I drive Isaiah crazy because he was wrong about them the entire season. But for me, I'm rooting for them because this is a great story when you haven't been to the World Series in 22 years, and especially losing the players that you did due to injury and bringing a new guy to play his GM like Jim said. I can't believe they brought this guy in and how it actually works out in the end. Definitely something interesting there.
Definitely. All right. So, J-Mac, I know you're kind of getting there short on time.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and just jump into our next topic really quick here before you hop off. But which is definitely – so, John, I know you have a lot to say on it, so I'm going to jump to J-Mac before he has to jump off. But, J-Mac, let me know. So, we talk about this Thursday night game, right? You have the Denver Broncos versus the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns did not have Baker Mayfield. They did not have Nick Chubb. They did not have Kareem Hunt. Their receivers were banged up. They had a bunch of starters out. And Cleveland still beat Denver. So what is your thinking on this?
My thinking is, I'm so happy that Denver gave up on Case Keenum and decided to keep Drew Lock and get Teddy Bridgewater. Because, man, didn't that work out for them. Because Case Keenum came and broke it off in their ass on Thursday night with a third-string running back and showed, guess what, maybe you shouldn't have given up on me so quick.
Yeah, it was good. And all right. All right, and welcome in Dante Garcia. Thank you, Dante, for watching an episode of Sports Minute. So with this, Sports Minute on Saturdays is kind of open forum. So if there's kind of anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and throw it out there. So John, with you being the Denver fan, I know you were very disappointed in this because the whole time you're sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? We lost to a banged up Cleveland Browns team.
Give me just a second because I want to collect my thoughts.
You want me to go before John goes?
Yeah,
I will go.
Isaiah, go.
Why don't I go
All
first
right.
because
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
Isaiah,
more
you go
mad
first
than-
because John has a rant. So you go ahead.
All right, sounds good. So I will basically keep my statement short. I'll basically paraphrase from what I said on Thursday on Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace, and that is the Denver Broncos need to have major changes immediately. They don't play for like another 8 days because they play next Sunday. But they got to have some major changes. Pat Shurmur needs to be gone. I said this on Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace that his offense is so damn slow, so damn conservative. There's no creativity whatsoever. It's like they're playing in the dinosaur era of offensive football. He needs to be gone. Heck, he shouldn't even be coaching my high school football team because my high school football team, even though we haven't won a game in 30 plus years, he would guarantee you make my high school football team even worse than it is. So Pat Shurmur, he needs to be fired. Secondly, the Denver Broncos need to start Drew Lock because at this point it's like I was telling Ace and John, I told you this on the phone. Drew Lock gives you something that Teddy Bridgewater doesn't, and that is the ability to throw the football down the field. Right now with Teddy Bridgewater, it's running the football and it's just short passes over the middle or to the sideline. A lot of these teams that play the Broncos now, they don't even stand, especially their safeties and their corners and their linebackers, they don't even guard like 30, 40 yards down the field. They just stand 15 to 20 yards from the line of scrimmage, and then you have the other guys stacking the box and stop the running game. And when they force Bridgewater to throw the football, passes are getting knocked away because they're so close to the vicinity. They're like 15 to 20 yards back from the defensive lineman. So if you put in Drew Lock, I'm not saying Drew Lock's going to save the day. I'm not saying he's going to rescue the Broncos, and all of a sudden, boom, the Denver Broncos are going to go on an Atlanta Braves hot streak and go to the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl. No, I'm just saying you put Drew Lock in because it makes the defense have to guard more of the football field than they already are right now. So Denver, start Drew Lock because heck, it can't get any worse at this point. Your season's done.
All right, so to answer Dante Garcia's question, yes, this is open forum night. All right, so John, since you're the Denver fan, you get to go ahead and do your little rant that you have to say.
Here we go.
If anybody knows a divorce lawyer out there, I have the papers and I'm ready to sign them. I'm ready to give them to John Elway, to the organization, because I am done with my Denver Broncos. I am no longer a fan of my Denver Broncos. It is not because of the losing. I can handle losing if it means you're making improvement and you're making changes. And okay, I can understand what you're trying to do as an organization. Going to Chris's comment, no dip anybody should have said draft Justin Fields because you couldn't get Aaron Rodgers. And before I get into it more, what was the complete tipping point is the Packers are shopping Jordan Love, which means Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay. And what is the complete fool is GM? No, we're going to have a quarterback competition. No, we're going to freaking draft a corner 8th overall despite we need a quarterback. How many starting quarterbacks have we had since 2016? I can't. 10 to 12 different quarterbacks starting. You gave Case Keenum a 2-year deal. You had that short stint with Drew Lock, a couple of 6 meaningless games. But no, you bring in this complete clown. Look at this. How stupid is the Broncos social media team posting this quote? What's most concerning is our fundamentals are lacking. And when that's lacking, that's poor coaching on our part. That starts with me. What gave that away? When you literally lost to the Baltimore Ravens, when you lost 4 straight? I mean, how stupid are you? as my light is trying to commit suicide because that's how terrible the Denver Broncos are. I mean, literally, the Jets are not that much worse than they are in this season. I am done with my Denver Broncos. It's not about losing. You continuously do the same thing over and over and over, and do not do what's best for the franchise. Do not do what's best for the team, or more importantly, the fans. The fact is, besides the not or shopping Jordan Love and most likely keeping Aaron Rodgers, the fact that Pat Shurmur and Vic Fangio still have their job is, to me, is absolutely asinine, because when you have a quarterback who can't throw 10 to 15 yards down the field, no, we're down by 3 points. The game is over. We don't know how to throw the football game. Put in Drew Lock. The season's over. When I found out that they lost because I went to bed, I get up early for work. Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., all of your starting offensive linemen, your running backs, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, all of your offensive, and your quarterback, who has a worse injury than we thought it could have been. 9 to 10 starters. And somehow you find a way to lose the football game. Really, let me do this part right here. What's most concerning is that fundamentals are lacking. And when that's lacking, that's poor coaching on our part. That starts with me. What gave it away? Game 4? Game 5? Game 6? Or Game 7? When your offense produces almost just a little bit more than the Jets franchise right now.
John, so let me throw in something on this that might make it a little bit worse, right? So, Dearness Johnson is a rookie in his first career start, and you guys let him run for 136 yards.
How do you think I feel? This is supposed to be our 8th overall pick. Von Miller says, I don't care who the quarterback is. I'm going to destroy it. For what? How terrible your Instagram social media handle is? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Your quarterback can't throw the ball down the field. And like third and fourth goal, we're having success doing this. Let's do the exact opposite. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2020. Our season's over. The fact that Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur, who literally has the worst play calling in the NFL right now, like, imagine like the worst flavor of food y'all don't like, and imagine the worst flavor of ice cream. That's Pat Shurmur. That's Vic Fangio. Who thought, let's see what Drew Lock can do in 2020. Let's see what can happen there. No, we're not going to do that. We're gonna sign Joe Flacco in 2019 because that's a genius idea. Let's see what he can do. It's not like he did it. He won the Super Bowl on his own in 2013 when he nearly lost against the 49ers. That wasn't the tipping point. Like, you should have drafted Justin Fields. You had a chance to get Aaron Rodgers, but no. Trust us as an organization. We're going to do what's best for the franchise. Really, not drafting a quarterback because you don't know free agency. You let Brock Osweiler go to the Texans, 4 years, $74 million, and you bring him back. And then you bring again. It's just, how stupid do you have to be? You're supposed to have this defense. You're supposed to see Teddy's our guy. Now, guys are coming up on contract years. Bradley Chubb. What happens to Von Miller in a couple years? He retires. What are you going to do with Teddy Bridgewater this offseason? Poor son coming up ACL tear a year and a half ago. So I can't, and I'll say this last part. All right. I'm done with the Denver Broncos fan. I am no longer a Denver Broncos fan, and frankly, at this point, I'm gonna go for the Bengals. I'm a Bengals fan. I can't do it no more. I'm done. Like, I'm not here to be a bandwagon fan. I am done with John Elway. I am done with Vic Fangio. I am done with Pat Shurmur. I cannot root for an organization that does not care about the fans, that does not care about the players. I am done. Screw you, John Elway. Screw you, Vic Fangio. Screw you, Pat Shurmur. Y'all shouldn't even have a job right now.
All right, so J-Mac, you kind of heard, John going off a little bit there. Do you have any follow-up comments, that John's talking about that maybe, Bridgewater shouldn't be the starter anymore? But you have Isaiah who's saying that Drew Lock should be the starter now. I mean, what do you...
Well, here's my final comments for the show tonight. Here's what I'll tell you. I will tell you that you guys, you got the solution. Melvin Gordon was supposed to be your solution in the backfield. You let Philip Lindsay walk and go to Houston. Philip Lindsay wasn't good enough. He was an undrafted rookie that went for 1,000 yards. I mean, that's not enough.
That's
Not good enough. So you go get Melvin Gordon, who hasn't rushed for over 300 yards since he's joined your team, and then you got Cortland Sutton at wide receiver, but you got no one to throw the ball to him. And you got Bridgewater, who can run the ball. You got Drew Lock, who probably couldn't throw his way out of a wet paper sack, to be completely honest. You've had one good quarterback since John Elway, and that was Peyton Manning, who was a sure thing, by the way. How is John? Here's my thoughts. How is John Elway so good as a quarterback and so awful at picking quarterbacks? I gotta question that.
The one I don't know why it is that way. And before this is my last thing though is that the reason why I'm not picking a team that is like they're guaranteed to make the playoffs and go to championship games because I'm not a bandwagon fan. I'm not gonna be like Isaiah, go Phillies, go Waves when they win 2 or 3 games because you're afraid to get fired or I don't know. And so no, I'm picking because I know a team that they're still in rebuild mode, but they're clearly they seem to be doing the right thing. The Broncos, I don't know, J-Mac, why John Elway just for some reason the quarterback position he just doesn't understand how to. He's had the right guys to draft potentially, but he just swipes left on them every single time.
Yeah, I mean, he drafted Paxton Lynch. I mean, that was a great idea. That worked out awesome.
Me on that. I still have my football therapist on speed dial.
Don't forget about Trevor Siemian. Too.
Yeah, I was going to say
Trevor Siemian.
This is why I'm giving up on the Broncos. It's not we can all handle losing. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're losing and making steps in the right direction, but they're not, it's like they make one step forward and 50 steps backwards, and that's been the Broncos since 2016.
Right, absolutely. Well, so speaking of NFL, though, we can talk about so we're going into week 7. So let's say, so we look at it, head to some week 7 games. And so, J-Mac, I'll start with you. What are some week 7 games that you're looking forward to?
I mean, there's not a lot of great games this week, to be honest. I was looking at the schedule, and there's nothing that's super great, I don't think. The one that really intrigues me maybe is the Bengals and the Ravens. That's 2 good teams that are squaring off, and I think that I think also that you're going to have the return of Matthew Stafford to Detroit, and I think he's going to annihilate Detroit. I don't even think it's going to be close, and I think they're going to find out why they got rid of Jared Goffel, just because, they're Matthew Stafford now. They don't need Goffel anymore.
Absolutely. So, Big B, I'm going to go to you. What games are you looking forward to during week 7?
Man, there ain't many. I mean, J-Mac probably hit off the 2 that I was going to say. How many points can the Bengals or Buccaneers put up on the Bears would be kind of an interesting one. And then maybe the Monday night game, backup quarterbacks per se, facing off, with the Saints in Seattle. So, but yeah, there ain't many. Maybe the Titans and Chiefs. See if the Chiefs defense can stop somebody. Maybe they can stop Henry from running all over the place. But outside of that, there ain't really many key matchups this week, I don't think.
All right. Well, I'll tell you one big game that I'm actually looking forward to is and this might surprise a lot of people, but it's only because last week the Chiefs played Washington, and Washington didn't score a lot, so people are like, is the Chiefs defense back? Well, I'll tell you, this week you're going to find out against Tennessee, because they're going to run into a guy named Derrick Henry, and you're going to find out, can they stop that bad man in Derrick Henry? I guess we're going to find out. But I can tell you, I don't think this Chiefs defense is back at all. I really don't think they are. It's definitely something that This is
So,
one
Ace,
thing
what would you
Huh?
consider stopping? What would you consider in the stat line for stopping Henry?
if you can
Under
if you
100? I mean,
if you can hold Derrick Henry to about 105 yards, you've done a pretty dang good job. If you limit him to not scoring any touchdowns, you've done a dang good job. So,
okay.
but there are teams who've held him under 100 yards. It's very tough to do. It's tough. It's tough. You have to stack the boxes. And so this game actually intrigues me because I want to see how well Kansas City is going to come out and play against Tennessee. Another one that I would say is kind of intriguing is kind of like what J-Mac was saying with the Bengals and the Ravens, only because the Ravens are so far I don't know what it is with their running backs this season, but every running back they get, they seem to be hurt. They lost Dobbins. They lost now Latavius Murray's out. They lost Gus Edwards. They lost Justice Hill. I mean, they've lost like 5 running backs. Their starting running back tomorrow is Devontae Freeman. That's their starting running back because they've been plagued so hard in the running back style. So that game definitely interests me. All right, Isaiah, I'm going to go to you on this one.
Yeah, I'm like J-Mac. I'm looking at the NFL schedule for Week 7, and there's just really not a lot of games that make you go, wow, I definitely have to tune into that game. I mean, I think the game that in the morning slate that I would definitely tune into before I go to work tomorrow is the Chiefs-Titans game because, like you said, Ace, the Chiefs, we know what they're about. The Titans, they played really good football last week against the Bills. And they also beat the Bills last week. And you have Derrick Henry, who I think will go for over 200 yards against that Kansas City defense because that Kansas City defense is not good whatsoever. Teams have been running by them left and right. And I just think that, I think that the Chiefs just won't be able to stop him. And I want to see, this game, since I think it's going to be if Kansas City is able to get out to a quick start. Like if they're up 14-0 and Tennessee has to throw the football with Ryan Tannehill, I want to see how the Titans are able to unleash that passing game against a Chiefs secondary that's not so good whatsoever. And then I would say the other games are Bengals and Ravens. 2 good teams going against each other. Probably. I'm trying to think Lions and Rams because, like J-Mac said, Rams, Matthew Stafford versus Jared Goff versus his former team, Matthew Stafford versus his former team. So there's a lot of intriguing storylines there. And I believe the last one would be the Sunday Night Football game because I'm going to be at Levi's working that game tomorrow. And the projected weather tomorrow, get this, fellas, it's going to be 100% rain, 100% chance of rain, and there's going to be 25 mile an hour wind. So it's going to be a monsoon tomorrow at Levi's Stadium. So if you guys are starting any 49ers receivers or quarterbacks or Colts wide receivers or quarterbacks or tight ends, I don't recommend you guys to start them whatsoever because it's going to be a heavy rainstorm that's going to be coming over the stadium tomorrow. I heard on the weather report that this is going to be the biggest storm we've had in the Bay Area since 2017. And there could be lightning and stuff like that. So who knows? This game might get postponed or delayed. So it's going to be fun working in that monsoon type of environment and experiencing what ushers in Seattle and, Kansas City and even Green Bay, what those ushers have to deal with in really extreme weather climates.
All right, so before we forget on that too, don't forget that Sunday night is the comeback tour of Jimmy Garoppolo because he's actually getting the start on Sunday. So we also have a question from Dante Garcia, so if you want us to answer that question, I'm sorry that I might have misspoke or you might have misunderstood. So the open forum night tonight is simply about sports, but if you want to know about an ice cream sundae toppings, that would be a great time to hit Isaiah and myself up on Thursday night on Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace. That's going to be probably the best spot to have that question answered. But John, anyways, what games are you looking forward to?
Hot fudge, M&M's, and sprinkles to answer his question. But now to
Okay.
answer your NFL question, the reason why, I mean, you could say the Chiefs and the Titans. I think the Chiefs defense has never been good. The fact is, all of this time, the past couple of years, from 2018 up until now, the offense has been able to carry the weight for the neglect of the defensive production. Now it's starting to kind of catch up to, and the defense is not doing their thing. They're not getting the turnovers. They're not doing the expectations. It's now the Chiefs' offense is suffering. Teams are starting to figure out the Chiefs. You had the Chargers, the Ravens beat them at Arrowhead Stadium. The Bills beat the Chiefs. Also, 3 teams in the AFC already this year. So I just don't see how. But again, I can't bet against Mahomes. But the defense has never been back, and I'll pick with that one. Next one though, I'll have to pick. Well, let's just be honest, folks. I would only say the Lions or the Rams, not because it's interesting, because I want to see Matthew Stafford shove that ball down that defense's throat the way how they mistreated him for many years. The Ford family should have been ashamed of how they mistreated him his tenure with the Lions. And they'll be like, oh, we probably messed up. But knowing the Ford family, they're not going to make no mistakes. But just seeing him destroy Detroit is going to be very satisfying.
Like, the one thing I'm telling you, which is crazy though, like there's 2 games that I'm looking at that I'm wondering by how much each team is going to lose by. Number one, when the Lions are playing the Rams, how many points are the Rams going to put up against the Lions? I think it's going to be a lot. I think they're going to blow out the Lions. And then number 2, I'm very intrigued to see how much the Cardinals are going to beat the Houston Texans by, because I think that's going to be another like destruction right there.
Lions lose 45-10.
So you're going to say they're scoring 10. Okay.
Maybe. If they're lucky, they'd be lucky to score 10.
How about Houston?
I mean, I don't know. It's Houston, so we'll just have to find out.
I could see the Cardinals putting up a 50 burger on the Texans with how pathetic their defense is.
Right? All right. Big B, what do you think?
I don't know if the scoreboard can count that high. I mean, for both of those games, I mean,
I got a better
we'll see
idea.
what happens.
Why don't we do, or the NFL do what we were discussing on Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace on Thursday, and that is just have like the MI6 and C2C form a team, and we just play the Arizona Cardinals instead. I know that. Hey, I would be giving as a quarterback going up against DeAndre Hopkins. I guarantee you, I ain't giving up any touchdowns to him because I'll just grab onto him.
Wow.
Hey, flags are better than touchdowns. That's exactly the same way I would go up against you, Ace, if we matched up 1-on-1 like we talked about on Thursday.
So here's a good question though from Dante Garcia. So I'm not going to get into somebody who was left off the list, but Dante Garcia, if you want to hear a little bit about the top 75 list, here was actually something that was very intriguing about it, was that when you hear it, Klay Thompson came out and basically said, you know what? He believes that he should be good enough to be in the top 75 player list of all time. And we kind of talked about the top 575 list yesterday, I believe it was, or it was like yesterday or Thursday. It might have been. And we talked about it. We're like, nah, I don't think Klay Thompson really needs to be in the top 75. I can think of 75, players that are better than him. But Big B, I'm going to start with you. Like, do you kind of feel the same way? Like Klay Thompson does not deserve to be in the top 75?
I mean, yes. I mean, I guess I haven't really looked at the 75 list. I know we went over it. Are we basing it on stats? Are we basing it on player recognition? Are we playing on championships? I mean, there's so much. I mean, each list is going to be different. I mean, all 4 of us could probably come up with a different list. Some players are going to be the same, yes, and some players are going to be no. But I don't know if any one of us would put Klay Thompson up there right now without doing, studying and then maybe coming back to this next week and be like, okay, here's our 75 list, let's compile it. But right now, I don't think Thompson's on the list.
No, but obviously, if you're doing a top 575 list for the season, then yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to go with Klay Thompson. But if you're doing all time, no way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he should be in the top 75. Isaiah, what do you think? Do you feel like Klay Thompson should be in the top 75?
Well, I'm looking at this list right now, and I'm trying to think of like players that I would take off to replace Klay Thompson with. I mean, it really depends on like the criteria of this list.
Yeah.
It's like, are we talking about points scored? Are we talking about like shooting threes? Because a lot of these players, like what is this list about? Is it like offense, defense, whatever? Like,
It's all around. I think it's all around.
because I could make an argument that you could say I could take Russell Westbrook off this list, and you could put Klay Thompson over him because Klay Thompson's a really good 3-point shooter, and Russell Westbrook, I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he's mostly known for triple doubles. But like we talked about on Thursday, those triple doubles came when he was the only person on that team. I guarantee you, other players, if they were the only primary top player on their team, they could do the same thing like Colin Sexton is doing with the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. So I don't know. There's a lot of it's a good debate. There's like a lot of players that you could definitely debate them versus Klay Thompson.
Well, yeah, and when you go as far as back as Russell Westbrook, when you talk about him, and you can talk about his triple doubles and everything else, but you go back as far as his OKC days, right? Well, it's basically when you look at his OKC days, you can look at the main aspect of, okay, all right, who was with him at that point? Like Steven Adams and Doug McDermott and stuff like that. So you look at his triple doubles, it was, well, you're all we got. So, so we're going to let the leash off and we're going to ride or die with you. I mean, you're going to go out there and take every shot you want, and we're just going to do it because that's all we got. But at that point, that's kind of what it was. If he actually had players around him, would he be as good? He wouldn't have those numbers. He would not have. Yeah. You see it now. Yeah. He doesn't have the numbers now because he's with LeBron and AD, so he doesn't have it now. When he was with Bradley Beal was putting up a majority of the points. Yeah, Westbrook was there, but he wasn't putting up as many points as Bradley Beal when he was with the Rockets. James Harden was the main guy there, so. I don't know. So to me, you can kind of consider Klay Thompson. Possibly, I might put him ahead of Russell Westbrook. I just might. I might. Because Klay Thompson has accomplished more. To me, I feel like Klay Thompson is more consistent on both sides of the ball, defense and shooting. I definitely feel like he's more consistent in that aspect. But since we're talking about top 75 players of all time, let me ask you guys this question, because this was brought up to me. Is Steph Curry the greatest and purest three-point shooter that you've ever seen? And Isaiah, I'll start with you.
Well, I don't know if you really should start with me because, I mean, I only started watching basketball since 2008 because I'm only I'm really young. So, Big B, Ace, you guys probably would have seen more basketball than I did. But for me, it's like, I think so because I just think that his release is just so smooth and, the way he comes off screens, he's just so deadly. Anywhere on the court, he could just knock it down if he gets the ball. Like, no matter if you put one guy on him, two guys on him, or three guys on him. So for me, I would say yes.
All right. How about you, Big B?
Oh, I mean, he's got a sweet stroke. He can nail it from anywhere. Like I've said before, I'd hate to play this kid in horse. But to put him ahead of Bird, Miller, some of the great shooters I've seen shoot threes, and hit daggers. I don't know. I mean, he's probably top 5, if not top 10 for me. But to be the greatest, I mean, I can hear arguments from other players or people, and I would agree with them. But I don't know if I can personally put him up there because there's so many great shooters back then.
Yeah, to me, it was tough, but there he is. There's Callan. All right, welcome in, Callan. So, Callan,
Permission for me to leave, please, Ace?
No,
Nope.
stay where you're at, Isaiah. I just called. My hockey game is wrapped up. Just wanted to say, Isaiah loses again. Good night, guys. See ya.
See you later, guys. All right, there you go. All right, so, but to me, it is. All right, so Christy Wilson saying she would consider that Curry is one of the greatest shooters of all time. He definitely is. He's definitely one of the greatest shooters of all time. But when you truly think about it, you can talk about 3-point shooting. But here's the thing, though. Like, if you're going to make a top 5 list, let's say you're going to make a top 5 list of players of all time. People may not talk about possibly like a Larry Bird or somebody like that. But here's the thing, though. The thing is simply this. Like, back then, the 3-point shot was more of a novelty shot. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. So when you're trying to talk about the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, it's not really fair to like the older era, because the 3-point shot was definitely a novelty shot. It wasn't something that happened a lot. But now this is what transformed to the game now. This is definitely what it's about now. It's about 3-point shooting. Heck, back then, a lot of your centers, that's all they did was just rebounded the ball and dominated the boards. Like, think about like Dennis Rodman. Just
Bill Russell.
Probably but Rodman was probably the greatest rebounder of all time. But when you think about it, though, now look at the game now. You have your centers, like 7-foot guys, who are coming out now and taking threes, and they're making threes, because that's what the game is now. They're making threes, they're hitting their free throws. I mean, it's crazy how much this game has transformed. It has completely changed.
Yeah.
But Dante Garcia is saying a reaction to Iowa State upsetting OK State. That, you know what, though? There was actually a few upsets today, and there was almost a few more. I'm not like, I think it was 7 that lost, 8 that lost. I believe those were like the 2 top 25 that lost, because Oklahoma State, I know they lost, and Penn State lost. So, yeah.
9 overtimes.
9 overtimes. They lost in 9 overtimes.
But is the college game really considered overtime? Because in it, 1 drive per person, it's not timed anymore, right?
No, it's not. But here's what it is, though. In overtime, like after a while, I think it's like once you get to like the 3rd overtime, it then becomes it then becomes a 2-point conversion at that point. So basically, you get 1 chance. So you get to go, and if you can't complete it. And you're going, I think, from like the 3 or the 5, and you come out, you try and complete the pass. If you can't do it, the other team goes. If they can't do it, then it goes to another overtime, and you take another 2-point shot. So it's more of a sudden.
It's more of a sudden death, like
it's more of a sudden
hockey. It's not an overtime. Okay,
but they call it an overtime.
I know they call it. I know they call it overtime. I mean, no matter what, 5, 6, 7, 8 overtimes, whatever it is. I mean, that's amazing as it is. I mean, that's free football, free hockey, whatever, extra innings, but yeah, it's just like, I don't remember it being just, a straight up overtime. I don't know why they just don't change it to the college shootout or something, but
I would have
not really overtime.
Like the NFL, just make it 1 overtime. And if like 1 overtime, like a 15-minute, quarter, whoever scores, or like, let's say, how the NFL does it, where it's like the team gets possession, if they score a touchdown, they win the game. But if they score a field goal, the other team has a chance to answer. I mean, I think that's better than, doing this, like, weird, crazy overtime rule where it's like you get 2-point conversions and doing it in shootout. Because imagine if the college football national championship game came down to 2-point conversions because they went like 6, 7, 8 overtimes. Like that's not real like football. That's what I'm saying.
No, but
Isaiah, that's got to be probably the smartest thing I've ever heard you say.
But hold on here because he is talking about overtime. But the only thing that I want to say about overtime, as far as NFL though, the one thing that I disagree with though is that I do disagree that if a team goes down and scores a touchdown, the game's over. Because if you're trying to make it to where, because if you're trying to make it to where both teams get a chance in overtime, then you got to make it even if they score a touchdown. Yep. The other team should get a chance to respond to go down and score a touchdown because it means a lot in playoffs, especially if you're in a playoff game and the other team goes down and scores in overtime and scores. You're not allowed to try and match it. I mean, that's not. Yeah. To me, that's not right. Like, you should at least give the team a chance to match it.
Well, but if you match it, though, like, are you then having to convert a 2-point conversion instead of kicking the extra point? Or something?
No. It's just it would basically be NFL overtime rules now, but it would be if that team went down and scored a touchdown, the other team would get a chance to it. And if they went down and scored a touchdown, then the next team that scores wins. And that's and that's how that would be. But I just disagree with the whole if they go down and score a touchdown, it's over. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean I get what you're saying is the first team that scores a touchdown shouldn't automatically win, but again, if we both score a touchdown and then you go down and kick a field goal or score a touchdown, my team should have another chance to do it. I mean, but I'm okay with the way it's set up now, but except for, first team that scores a touchdown. Yeah.
It's better than the college rule where you're doing like a 2-point.
It is better than college rule.
Yeah,
well, yeah, but college, they do it from the 25. Like, you start out with the 25, on the first, and the first overtime, you start out at 25, you both get a shot. And overtime in the NFL, you're actually kicking the ball off. Like, you're kicking it off. You don't know where you're getting it from. So, that's like the only thing. If you're going to try and establish that in college, you would have to you could not go from the 25. You would have to back it way up across the field and go from there. So, I mean, there's definitely different overtime rules that you could do, but I guess it kind of depends on how you like it.
Yep. No, you're right, Ace.
I don't know, but to me, that's kind of what we're sitting at. But Big B, before you hopped on here, we're talking about the World Series that's coming up between the Braves and Astros. Who are you taking?
It's probably the first time in 5-ish years because I think the Cubs won in 2016?
Yeah.
I think it was. That I'll be pulling for the National League. I think the Braves earned it. They got a good team. They got Eddie Rosario really helped them out, and I believe he got the MVP. I could be wrong. I don't know if he did, but
he did.
Okay, he should have got it. I mean, batting .560 or something with 3 home runs, and he as much as I joke with you, Ace, I mean he definitely helped them propel this series. Houston, I mean, they've cheated before, they've been caught, whatever, but they still had to hit, they still had to field, they still had to pitch, so they got to it again. Do they have help electronically again? Who knows? But I just didn't really care for the Astros. I was kind of hoping the Boston would have made it, but hopefully it's a good series. Braves, I'll take Braves in 6.
Braves in 6.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be a fun series for sure.
Hopefully. You know what I'm hoping for, but I know it's not going to happen. I'm just hoping we come in and beat them in 4 and just get it over.
How's the layout? Who's home?
Houston will be home.
So Houston gets 1, 2, 6, and 7. So
yeah, okay. Houston will be home because they had more wins during the regular season.
No, I thought it was the All-Star game.
That's what I thought too. But the announcers tonight at the game were talking about wins, and that's what they were talking about. So that's why I got confused.
Well, didn't the American League win the All-Star game anyway? So I guess it would.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter anyway. But yeah, because normally it is the All-Star game. But I thought tonight, they were on there and they were talking about how if the Dodgers won, then Dodgers would have got home field advantage because they had more wins. And I'm like, wait, isn't it the All-Star game?
Yeah. No, I like how it used to. I don't like how the All-Star game determines it. I rather just go back to being every other season. American League gets it, the NL gets it, back and forth like it used to be.
All right. Well, anyways, we're almost at that time, but I want to give a shout out to Big B there. Big B, your Timberwolves starting out the season 2-0.
Yeah, better than Lakers. That's all I gotta say. Hey, don't shout out the Wild too. I mean, they're 4-0, 2 overtime wins. I mean, so we're living large here in Minnesota right now. So our football team can't do much. Our baseball team ain't nothing. The Lynx, they made the playoffs. So right now it's looking pretty good early. So,
well, I am giving you props for being 2-0, even though it was against Houston and New Orleans. I'm still giving you props for it.
Well, we got to play who's on the schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I just can't wait till this young Wolves team matches up against that AARP team in the Lakers, and we can run the court around them. We might bring them some walkers when they come to Minnesota.
So, Big B, I don't know if you saw like in the second game, but they already had a fight going on the sidelines there.
Oh, for the Lakers? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, between Lakers, and I'm like, yeah, this team's gonna really work out well.
They got ejected too.
Yeah.
No,
I heard Isaiah's little rant and wanting everybody fired, blow it up, trade LeBron for Booker, trade Westbrook for whoever knows,
Reeves,
yeah. So it's early. I mean,
I was even out here telling Ace how we have a fourth star. He could.
Well, first you need 3 stars to get to the 4th star.
Yeah, you need to have 3 first.
Yeah, you got 3 egos. I mean, you definitely got that, but Isaiah, you'll learn someday that there's no I in team.
You got Carmelo Anthony as a star right now, as a superstar.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh! All right, well with that,
as the old side or the old saying goes in the longest yard, you mean a half a star? I mean,
well,
half stars. There you go.
With that craziness, anyways, since he's saying that Anthony Starr thing, okay. With that. I gotta wrap this up now because that's just craziness. But
it ain't the craziest thing he's ever said.
No, he's definitely said a lot more crazier stuff than that. But
I'm still waiting for the Vancouver Blues to have a home game here.
Yeah, that was awesome, and that's why I said we're definitely not talking hockey tonight.
Yeah.
But even though I will say I'm very, very disappointed in my Red Wings tonight, because we start out 2-0-1, and then we come out and lose 5-1 to the 0-5 Montreal Canadiens. Are you kidding me? The 0-5 Canadiens, and we lose 5-1.
I bet you Isaiah doesn't even know where Montreal's at.
Actually, I do. I've been there before on a trip. So it's in Canada.
And
Toronto, I believe.
And so. But now I'm concerned too because now we play the Blackhawks next, and they don't have a win yet. So now I'm like, so there you go. So I think we're gonna lose that now too because they don't have a win yet. So anyway, with that, Isaiah, give your final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts is I want to thank the fans for tuning in to our show tonight. It was a great show. Make sure you guys also check out Wild Sports Talk, which will be resuming on Monday with myself, Ace, and Lowroll, and maybe another guest, who knows. But check out that show. Check out Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace every Thursdays. And I also got to give a shout out to my San Jose Sharks. 4-0, and we play, I believe, on Sunday tomorrow against the this yellow and black cathedral-looking glass-stained team.
All right, you've already lost it. You've already lost. Like,
Can you tell me the team, by the way? It's like some cathedral glass stain, with the black and the yellow, and it's got like a B in the middle.
Are you talking about the Boston Bruins?
The Bruins. There you go. Never mind.
See, when you come on here, can't even tell me the Boston Bruins, and I'm like,
hey, Google normally gives me the team name, but for some reason it only gave me the logo, and I was like, who is this? Like, on the church, right? They got this stained glass looking thing, and it's like, I'm like, what is this logo?
well, anyways, all right. Big B, any final thoughts?
Oh man, where's Colin when you need him? I mean, no, I'm glad I got to jump on for the last half hour ish or so. I do gotta admit, Isaiah had one good thing to say today about the college overtime rule. I'm impressed. But check me out tomorrow morning or this morning, I guess, or depending on where you're at, for morning tailgate with my guys, Low Roll, Crispy Bacon, myself, and Mess Around as we break down week 7. So.
And so for that, I hope everybody enjoyed another episode of a Sports Minute. Tomorrow, I actually get to relax and watch some NFL games without having to worry about a Game 7. So
Vikings won't lose tomorrow, guaranteed.
Guaranteed, you're right. They're on a bye week, right? Yep. So guaranteed
exactly.
They won't lose. All right. So with that, I hope everybody has a fantastic night, and we'll see you Wednesday for another episode of Sports Minute. Have a good night.